Hello, good day. I'm Ehsan, and I'm here with a tutorial on grading in DaVinci Resolve. I want to show you how to enhance a footage that has a natural look or a dramatic look so you can strengthen it. The footage I've chosen has some potential, but it was shot very poorly. It has some issues and can't be recovered with just a simple color space transform, CST, so I want to use some techniques to help with that. I want to clearly show you precisely how we can effectively recover a significantly damaged footage using careful manual contrast adjustments and various powerful techniques readily available within DaVinci Resolve. I will then right-click and carefully select Create Timeline. I'll proceed with the default settings, but you can certainly set your own preferred aspect ratio or specific frame rate if you genuinely want to. Just simply uncheck the box and then meticulously adjust any particular settings you might need in the comprehensive configuration panel. For example, you can set the aspect ratio, frame rate, or anything else you need. I click Create and then go to the Color tab. In this section, I use Color Space Transform to start working. Choose DaVinci Wide Gamut or DaVinci Intermediate. If you pay attention, the footage will be transformed at first, but you might notice some noise appearing. I go to the first tab and in the Reduce Noise section, I meticulously apply the mask and then proceed to add some significant reduction to the overall footage. I carefully open the various tabs, then precisely press Alt and S simultaneously, and if you observe very closely at this particular image, I intentionally turn off the effect. This specific image is predominantly in the mid-tones and has been carefully adjusted to achieve the desired visual outcome. You can clearly see the detailed vector scope, and there's a very slight, almost imperceptible amount of deep black, enhanced contrast, vibrant color, and luminous light present within the frame. From this particular section, if I open it up, you can clearly see the waveform and precisely how it looks. I truly need the vector scope more, so I will start opening the layers and then increase the gain. I will adjust it a bit from this point as well, and gently pull the shadows up to 128. Then I will move on to the next section, make the necessary adjustments, and pull the shadows with the curve, then push it to the bottom. I will separate this particular section here as well, and then I will move on to the very next tab. In the subsequent tab, specifically within HDR, we meticulously set the shadows to an absolute 0, and from this precise point I carefully pull the light up. Then I proceed into the following section, and from this particular section I delve into the primary light blades and diligently return the shadow to an absolute 0. From the other side I then set the light to 96 for a much better and more pronounced effect. We saw that the contrast turned out really great, and from this section I reduced the saturation. Now by turning the effect on and off, I can see the changes in the work. I apply sharpness, then adjust contrast and saturation. The contrast looks great. Toggling the effect shows improved contrast and color restoration, especially in the blacks. I move on to the next layer and start coloring from this section. Now you can add any color you like. For example, here I'm adding a blue tint. In the next layer I go in and here I increase the intensity of the blues, and from this section the saturation as well. I move on to the next layer and start coloring from this section. Now we can add any color we like. For example, I'll use blue here. In the next layer I go in and here the intensity of the blues increases. And from this section, we adjust their saturation as needed. I'll move to the next layer and pick a color like purple. From here I can add color, adjust intensity, and control saturation. In the next layer I need to add some green. There are some veins of blue as well, which I'll almost leave as they are because there's a bit of a mistake here, but we can see some magenta and some face tones in there. I'll move out of this layer and go into the effects. In this tab I try to apply glow and light effects and show you that tab. In the next section I'll add some green and a bit of the sky's veins. I'll almost leave this as it is because the color is a bit off, but we'll keep it like that. There are some magentas as well. Then I'll exit this layer and move into the effects. In this tab, I try to apply and control glow and light effects a bit. I'll keep it within its own limit without overdoing it, and then move on to the next effect. Here we can also have the relight effect. Let's test how this works. If it's too much, I'll tone it down here. If it's too little, I'll reduce its intensity for a more balanced control. First, let me talk about its color so that the whole set is imported, and from this section, I'll adjust it, then I'll move to the next part. I'm thinking about the next step, where I want to cut it, just like this section. It's the same, and from this section still. What I want to say is that I need to remove one, so that the next one I want to add will have a different color and shade compared to the lower part. I want to create a slightly different color feel. So I'll go ahead and work on it, and I'll also do a bit of blending. I'm doing this so you can see the difference. I'm making sure not to let it get into the other layers, so I need to intensify it. Then I move on to the next layer and repeat the same process in this area, and I'll do the same thing for another section. I add it to the work, they come out of the layer, and in this part we add the film look. In this section where the film look is added, we can control some of the accesses we had before. I try to control it with the opacity adjustment so that the feeling and mood we created in the effect layer is now conveyed very well here. And here in the cinematic AC we do this. Here the sprite is not used. They come out of the layer because the sprite also has coverage and the layer is also. You are stating that the system presents a variety of distinct questions for consideration, and from this diverse array, you have the freedom to choose whichever one particularly appeals to you or best suits your current needs. For instance, as a practical demonstration, I would proceed to close the active effect that is currently in place, and subsequently I would carefully and deliberately select the specific marks that are relevant to my objective. Based on this precise action and the subsequent selection, there should inherently be a discernible outcome or a particular element that manifests itself as a direct consequence of these steps, indicating a clear and logical progression within the system's operation. Here, use various lighting effects in these sections to create different feelings. Thanks for following. I hope it was encouraging.